Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin in the name of Allah, whose mercy is profound, whose kindness is forever. We are reaching the finishing point of our lectures. We did, in the last lecture, two categories of what are called verbs, thalathi, mazid, fi. Thalathi, three, mazid, fi, further, more in them. That is, there are verbs in Arabic which are simply thalathi mujarrad, whose basic category of madi, wahid, ghaib, past, singular, third person, is comprised of three letters. That is thalathi mujarrad. And there are certain other verbs in Arabic wherein the same category of madi, wahid, ghaib is comprised of three letters plus one or more additional letters. The three letters are considered to be original, and the additionals are the ones which have to do with that category. They are always constant, the same. So in other words, the verb, when it changes, its original three letters change, but the constant additions of thalathi, mazid, fi, they are always incorporated, they are there. So while talking about thalathi, mazid, fi, we have done two examples. Thalathi, three, mazid, fi, furthermore in them. In addition, more in them. We did one example of bab if'al and a second example of bab taf'il. While doing these examples, I started with madi, past tense, then verb mudari, present and future, then ism fa'il, noun of the one who does the verb, does the act. It's not fa'il, it's ism fa'il. I hope I get the opportunity of distinguishing between the two concepts. Then you have ism maf'ul. This is again not maf'ul, which we already discussed while talking about rafa and nasab. These are the categories that you find in the construction of a sentence. Right now we are talking about the forms of nouns, irrespective of where they're used in a sentence. And finally, we have the ismul fail, the name of the verb, which is also called masdar, where all words belonging to the category emerge from. That's what it originally means, masdar, where it all originates from. So let's take the example of anzala for bab if'al, which is a very frequently used verb in the Quran. The fail mudari is yunzilu. As I said earlier, it's always going to be yunzilu. Then the one who is causing, for example, the rain to fall is munzilun. Anzala, he caused it to fall. Yunzilu, he is causing it to fall. Munzilun, ism file, the one who does it, the one who causes rain to fall, ism file. Ism maf'ul, what has been caused to fall, ism maf'ul. And masdar, the act of something falling, descending, inzal. This is, by the way, a noun. This is a noun. This is a noun. And the first two are verbs. I hope that you know that when I say anzala, that's the first category of the verb in that matrix in the gardan. So anzala, anzala, anzalu, it will continue. Likewise, yunzilu is mudare and is the very first, that is mudare, wahid, singular, and third person, ghaib. Yunzilu, yunzilani, yunziluna, etc. The second one that we did was allama, which is bab-e taf'il now. Allama. Here again, there are three, ain, lam, mim, and an addition, mazid fi, another lam. Here there are three, noon, ze, lam, but there is an addition, in addition, alif, hamza with a fatha above it, always there. So that's what mazid fi is. Allama, yu'allimu, muallimun. This is ism file. The one who teaches is muallim. The one who is taught is ism maf'ul, is, pardon me, muallam. And the act of teaching is ta'aleem. Now, let us move on. Let's take the next example. The next example is in Salasi Mazid Fi. We're going to do 8, even though there are probably one or two more, but the famous of them are 8, which are more frequently used in the Quran. This time it's tadabbara. Tadabbara. Now here the additional constant is te, and there is this repetition of be in the second letter, ain kalima. So tadabbara, and mind you, despite the fact that it has a te right at the beginning, it's not muzare. Normally you know that ta coming at the beginning of verb would give you an understanding that probably the verb is muzare. That's why there's sometimes some confusion in identifying these verbs towards the beginning, but you would get to know them later. Particularly, you know that mazi fail has a fatha zabr right at the end, whereas muzare has a pesh, it has the vowel which distinguishes it from mazi. So while here it's zabr, there it's pesh, it's dhamma. Like we have now in this next verb, tadabbara, yatadabbaru. So here it's dhamma, yatadabbaru. And again the same kardan. Now the one yatadabbara, tadabbara, we know that in the Quran it's to reflect upon, to pursue, to focus. Yatadabbaru, and then you have mutadabbirun. This is ism file. The one who is reflecting, is mutadabbirun. It's a noun. Sometimes Arabs, they find it more convenient to pronounce it instead of mutadabbirun, mudabbirun. Don't be confused. You'll get used to it. This ta gets attached to the. They merge and they give the sound of two dals. So it happens. So you would know mudabbirun is also mutadabbirun. It's used in the Quran, wherein the two are merged. And then mutadabbarun. This is ism maf'ul. And what is the masdar? The ismul fail, the name of the verb, tadabbur. That is the act of reflecting. That's what tadabbur is. In the Quran, you know, it is mentioned, afala, afala. So, do they not? Yatadabbarun. Do they not reflect? Al-Quran, upon the Quran. So, afala, so do they not? Yatadabbarun, from here, yatadabbar, the plural, reflect upon the Quran. That is what the Quran says. This is verse 82 of Surah Nisa. So this is Salasi Mazid Fi, Bab. You know, if we use Fe and Lam, we would say it's Bab Tafa'ul, like it's Bab If'al, Bab Taf'il, Bab Tafa'ul. Let me write it down here. This is Bab If'al. You've already done it, that Fe and Lam are used as the standard letters in order for us to communicate with each other while trying to understand the formation of nouns and verbs. This particular bab is taf'il. There's nothing that I have done except for the fact that instead of talim, I have replaced the original letters of talim, ayn, lam, mim, with fe and lam. And that is what you have. So tadabbur is bab tafa'ul. This is bab tafa'ul. So we have done 3 now. Let us now move on to the 4th. If you have a feeling that I'm being a little too quick, let me say that honestly, while learning anything, more particularly Arabic of the Quran, the onus of learning is more on the student, the participant. The more you practice whatever you've understood in these principles while reading in the Quran, the more you're going to learn. New questions would emerge. You would ask me, ask somebody else. You'll get the answers, and gradually this process is going to pick up. Let's move on. There is another bab, let's say number 4, which is bab tafa'ul. Bab tafa'ul. This one was tafa'ul. The next one is tafa'ul, with an alif coming between fe and ain. The example of it is takathara. He was obsessed with getting more. Takathara. Yatakatharu. he is obsessed with getting more, kathrat, in plenty. The one who is involved in this act is mutakathirun, is ism file, mutakathirun, the one who does it. Now, I'm sure you would know that mutakathirun, when you say, then of course the other 5 possibilities are already there. Mutakathirun, mutakathirani for 2, mutakathiruna for many, mutakathiratun for feminine, mutakathiratani for 2 of feminine, and mutakathiratun is for plural. So that is mutakathir. And for the one that is ism file mutakatharun, which in this case would be if you have an obsession to get a plenty, to get large number of whatever, this is the one about whom you are obsessed. So you want to get in large number, a plenty, you're obsessed for this thing, mutakathur. And the act of getting a plenty is takathur, the obsession to get in abundance. And this is basically bab tafa'ul, tafa'ulun. This was tafa'ul, this is tafa'ul. You know this famous verse, alhaakumut takathur. Alha. Can you guess what verb is it? Alha. It's from here. Anzala. Can you imagine what the muzari of it could be? Yunzilu. Alha yulhi. Can you guess why there is some difference in what the normal pattern should have been from what it actually is? You know, anzala, alha, there's some difference. Yunzilu, yulhi, some difference. Remember huruf illat, alif, waw, ya. Wherever one of these 3 are going to be there, you will have some difference in the normal pattern. So it was actually al-haya, yulhi. But that is awkward for Arabs to pronounce. So it's alha yulhi. Alha means it has made you forgetful. It has made you ignore. Alhaakumut takathur, the race for obsession, for getting more and more, has made you forget, oblivious of the ultimate realities of life. Kum, you know, is the pronoun for plural, masculine, second person. Alhaakum, this is verb. It has made you oblivious. At-takathur, what? At-takathur, your inclination, your obsession to get more and more. Hatta, until such time, zurtum, you visit. Zurtum, you know what the simple verb of it is? Zara. That is Salasi Mujarrad. He visited. Zurtum, you visit. and zara becoming zurtum, like zaraba becoming zarabtum, it's again there is a slight problem. Zaraba zarabtum, zara zurtum, again the same problem of illat. I'm doing it so that you get some idea of the kind of variations that are there in these verbs, and this is because of the presence of either alif or waw or ya, these three huruf illat. Whenever they are present and there is a change in pattern from what you're used to, then don't be surprised, don't be disappointed. It's understandable. Hatta zurtum, until such time that you reach al maqabir. Maqabir is the plural of qabr, and this is the maf'ul of zurtum. So that is why it has nasab. Takasur has a rafa. Takasur has a rafa. We're going back to the earlier lectures, trying to figure out as to why there is rafa on takasur. Remember, there were 4 reasons for rafa. It's because it is alhaz fa'il. Alhaakumut takasur. Takasur has made you forgetful, made you to ignore, oblivious of the ultimate realities of life, until such time that you reach graves, that is your graves. So this is takasur. This is number 4. Before I move on to number 5, let me just clarify this one point wherein I mentioned that you have ithm fa'il, which is not fa'il, and ithm maf'ul, which is not maf'ul. Let me give you an example. There is this ism fa'il from thalasi mujarrad as well, which is again just about standard. There is a verb thalasi mujarrad, zalama, simple, like qatala, like zaraba, zalama. He was unjust, unfair. When you make ism fa'il from zalama, it's zalim. Zalim. This ism fa'il, look at this word fa'il, is actually the standard word fa'il. Zalim, fa'il, ism fa'il. You might ask, why have you placed rafa on zalim? Well, it's a valid question. The answer is normally it's conventional. Probably the assumption is that you're saying huwa zalimun. So it's a sentence where it's mubtada and khabar, and on both you've got rafa, but there's no reason. I mean, it could be nasab, it could be jar. So zalim is what is important. This is ism fa'il. And then you have ism maf'ul, which is exactly on the pattern of maf'ul, which is mazloom. Oh no, mazloom. Mazloom. Zalim, mazloom. Now these are the nouns. It's the meaning of zalim. Zalim is the one who does zulm, who is unfair, at times tyrannical. Mazloom is the one who has been treated unfairly. However, when you use these nouns in sentences where there are verbs, then it would all depend on the usage of the verb of these nouns. Like, for instance, ra Ra means saw. Al-Mazloom. The Mazloom saw whom? Al-Zalim. Zalim. So this is Ism Maf'ul and this is Ism Fa'il. But in this particular sentence, Ra, he saw, is the verb, and Mazloom is Fa'il of Ra, he saw, and Zalim is Maf'ul because he was the one whom he saw. So you see, Ism Fa'il and Fa'il in a sentence and Ism Maf'ul and Maf'ul in a sentence are different. I hope you understand the difference between the two. May the Almighty enable us to understand the language of His book properly and thus be able to understand His message more effectively.